Hey you, before we get into today's video, I need to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. I made a small mistake of wiring a specific wire to a specific lug during the whole wiring process. So during the video, when I say wire something to lug number 1, you should actually wire it to lug number 3. And same thing with the tone knob. So let me switch it over. Let's pretend this is your volume pot and this is your tone pot. So during the video, when I said wire this wire to a specific lug, so I said wire it to lug number 1 and then wire it to lug number 1 on the tone knob. What actually was supposed to be wired as is wire it to lug number 3 to the number 3 on the tone knob as well. So I had to go back in and kind of reroute a couple of wires, and it wasn't really a big deal. All I had to do was swap whatever wires I had connected to lug number 1 to number 3, and whatever I had going on for number 3, I just had to bring that up to lug number 1. So it's only like a couple of small adjustments. Later on this week, there will be a before and after comparison video between the old pickups and the new pickups that I have going on right now, and as well as a demo plus review video of the Steamwood Duncan's P-Rail with triple shots on both of these pickups. So stay tuned for that, alright? So enjoy today's video and I will see you guys in the next one. Hey you, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I will be showing you guys a step-by-step process in how to get all of the electronics working on your guitar. Alright, so this configuration only works if you have one volume, one tone knob, 5-way switch, and a humbucker, single coil, and humbucker configuration. Alright, so when I'm in position 1, it is in bridge. Position 2, it'll be bridge and the single coil. There's not going to be any auto split going on with the bridge. So I want to give you guys a bit of a heads up if you're expecting this video to show you how to auto split. This video is not for that. Alright, so in position 2, all that's going to do is activate the middle pickup as well as the humbucker. Then middle will be just the single coil, and then position 4 would be middle and the neck humbucker, and then the last position would just be the neck humbucker. Alright, so now that we have the configurations out of the way and what you can expect your guitar to be configured to, so now let's get to connecting everything together in the guitar. Before we do anything, let's throw in a little bit of soldering on the lugs and on the back of the pot. So now that we added some soldering to the lugs and the pots, let me give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what I have going on with my 5-way switch. Alright, so right now I have the white wire connected to 4 and 5 in the center because these two lugs are the common, and the bare wires, I don't know if the camera will be able to see it, but there is a bare wire coming out of that as well, and that is grounded on the 10 of the 5-way switch. And because this is a import style 5-way switch, this has a 10 covering which you can use as grounding. Alright, so I have 4 and 5 lugs of the 5-way switch wired together and soldered together, and then the bare wire is just grounded into the side on the outer edge of the 5-way switch to keep it grounded. And then what we are going to do, this white wire off of the 4 and 5, we are going to be bringing that into the first lug right there on the volume pot. So since we've already added a bit of solder in the first lug, it's going to be super easy on getting this connected to the first lug. Alright, now that the white wire is in there, let me add just a little bit more soldering just to make sure that it will stay in the lug. There we go. Let it cool for a second, and then And then we will ground that bare wire to the back of the pot. Alright, so I have this little tube right here just to make sure that the bare wire isn't going to touch anything else. So, alright, so now I'm going to grab the bare wire and ground that from the 5-way switch onto the back of the volume pot. Okay, so now that we have the wire from the 5-way switch down onto the volume pot, alright, and now we are going to take the wires from our pickups and put them onto the lug of the 5-way switch. Alright, so according to Seymour Duncan's and the triple shot color scheme, the white wire is the hot wire and the black and bare one are what you use to ground. Alright, so you're going to twist them up. And then you are going to put your hot wire onto the 5-way switch. Alright, so I had to make a little bit of an adjustment to the wire. Alright, so I have a little heat shrink wrap tube for the bare and black wire. So I'm just gonna shrink that down just a bit. Alright, and that should do it. That way it stays snug and the bare wire won't be touching anything else that it's not supposed to touch. Alright, so it twists up the black and the bare wire. Okay, and so you take the hot wire of the bridge and you are going to attach it to the first lug of the 5-way switch. Hold it there for just a moment, let it cool, and you have attached your bridge. Now we are going to ground the bare and black wire of that bridge humbucker to the back of the volume pot. Okay, now we have grounded our bridge humbucker and wired our hot wire of the bridge humbucker into the first lug of the 5-way switch. Now we're going to do the same for the middle pickup. Alright, so our middle pickup is going to be on lug number 2 in the 5-way switch. So there's no wire sticking out of this, so I'm going to have to strip it just a tiny bit. There we go. Now we have our wire exposed. Let's wire in our hot wire. Alright, now let's wire in the hot wire. Alright, now let's wire in the hot wire of our middle pickup to lug number 2 on the 5-way switch. Alright. Alright, and now our middle pickup is connected to lug number 2. Alright, so now we are going to ground the ground wire of the middle pickup to the back of the volume pot. Okay. Alright, now we are on our third lug. Alright, and now we are on our last humbuckers. And now we are going to add the neck pickup to our 5-way switch. I'm going to need to strip off a little bit of shielding right there. I like to cut just a little bit of the plastic piece, just enough for me to be able to pull it apart. So, alright, so that expose it just a little bit. There we go. Come on. There we go. Alright. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to get this off. There we go. Alright. Okay. Now we have our black and bare wire. We're going to twist that together. Okay. Now I'm going to check and make sure that I have enough room to be able to go from here to the back of the volume pot. And I do. Okay. Alright, now let's get our hot wire from our neck pickup onto the third lug of the 5-way switch. Alright, so let's get this bad boy in. Keep it steady. And it should be staying pretty good. Alright. I need to make this a little bit shorter. Alright. Now let's get our ground wires from our neck humbuckers grounded onto the back of the volume pot. Just a drop of the solder. Now we put this on there. And now we have grounded our neck humbuckers. Alright, so now all we gotta do is connect the wire from the first lug of the volume pot and then connect it on over to the first lug of the tone pot. Alright, so I'm gonna connect it to the tone pot first. There we go. Got it soldered through the hole of the lug. Okay. Alright, now we gotta connect it to the first lug of the volume pot. Alright, so now let's ground our tremolo bridge. Cut just a little bit of these rubber piece off, so you can just pull it off like that. And then you are going to ground it onto the back of the volume pot. Get a little bit of solder on the wire. Okay. Let's add a little bit more on the back of the pot. There we go. Now we're going to ground our bridge onto the back of the volume pot. Okay. Now we are on to wiring in our capacitor. Alright, so we're gonna put one end into the middle lug of the tone pot, and then we are going to ground the other end. So I'm going to have to cut it just a bit. Alright. That should be enough. Okay, let that sit there for a second. Alright, now we are going to ground the other end. Now I just grounded the capacitor to the back of the tone pot. Alright, so make sure it's in there nice and snug. Alright. Alright, so what we are going to do is ground the back of this pot to the back of the volume pot. So for that, you can grab an extra wire. Looks like that might be enough to be able to pull off. There we go. Alright, I got this end. There we go. Okay. Alright, so now let's solder this. Alright, so that end is grounded. Now, let's get a little bit of soldering on this wire right here. There we go. Now we could just solder this to the back of the volume pot. Alright. Tug it, make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. We have made it where all of our grounded wires are grounded and they are not looping anywhere else. So everything is all grounded. The pot is grounded. That is grounded out into the bridge. That is grounded as well. We got two last steps to do. Alright, so now we just need to grab our extra wire and we are going to connect this into the middle lug of our volume pot. And what the other end of this wire will connect to, you're going to be connecting your yellow wire, which will be your hot wire. You're going to be connecting that into this lug right here. And then the ground wire will be going to the one on the right. Alright, and this will be connecting to the center lug right here on the volume pot. Hold that there for just a moment. Okay. Now you're going to be moving this wire into the hole of where your output jack would be. Now we are going to be connecting the ground wire to the back of the volume pot. Alright, so what I'm going to need to do is get a little bit of soldering right there. There we go. And it doesn't matter if your ground wires are all touching or not, as long as they all connect to the same pot. So whether they touch or don't touch, it doesn't really matter because it's all are already connected to the same circuit. Alright, now let's get our ground wire connected to the back of our volume pot. Okay. Alright, now that you have your ground wire connected to the ground, we are going to be pulling it through the hole, and our next step is to solder them to our output jack. Okay, cool. So now we have our hot wire and our ground wire. Alright, so let me add a little bit of solder on both of the wires. Okay. So we got a little bit on our ground wire. Alright. Get this to go through the lug right there. There we go. Hold it just a second. Let it cool. Alright. Alright. Now before you start putting everything together, make sure you double check all your wires. Before you start putting all the wires in, let's do a little bit of a quick test and make sure that everything is connected properly and everything will work. Alright, now let's see if our pickups are working. Alright, make sure everything is turned on and you are in the first position. Have your pickup be in humbucker mode. If you are using a P-rail and a triple shot. Alright, so let's tap our pickups. Alright, now let's go to position 2, which will add our middle pickup. Alright, that's working. And so is our bridge pickup. Now we are just on our middle. Alright, now position 4, which should just have this humbucker and the middle. Alright. And now we are on just the neck pickup. Alright. Alright, so I hope this video helped you guys out, and if it did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And also, subscribe if you're new. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video.